From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ticats Today for this Friday, November 3rd, 2023. And joining me on today's show to break down this upcoming Eastern Division playoff game between the Ticats and the Alouettes is Brian Simmons. Brian, how excited are you for this first playoff game?
Oh, I'm excited, man. Playoff ball is different. It's as a player, when I played, I always kept in mind, it is a game. Same thing you do every week, but it just means more when it's like, it's something on the line. Like if I
Yeah.
lose this game, this could possibly be my last game this season, and obviously my attempt at the Grey Cup, you want to make sure you have a shot. And in order to get a shot, you have to win this game. So, uh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see all of the games this weekend. But it's just going to be exciting playoff football, and I think it's going to be a great game.
And this is step number one towards going to that Grey Cup in
Yep.
Hamilton. Some big news released from the Ticats today, very big news. And Matthew Shiltz will get the start against the Montreal Alouettes. Brian, are you surprised by this at all?
I am slightly, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure these guys know what they're doing, and they're making the decision that's best for the team. I will
Yeah.
say with this Montreal, they have a pretty active defensive line. And I think it just having that dual threat, it just adds a little bit more spice to the offense. So I totally could see, why they made that choice. Am I saying that's the reason why? I have no idea why, but looking at it from that point of view, I can't say it's a bad decision.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Matthew Shiltz has played so
Mm-hmm.
good too. And you look at what he's been able to do since coming back from injury. He's looked lights out, and so has Bo. But do you think this is one of those games where we see another Shiltz goes first half? Well, I guess it would be switched around, but Shiltz goes first half and Bo in the second half. Or if Shiltz is playing good, do you keep him in the entire game?
I think if Schultz is playing good, you let it keep rolling. Let him keep
Yeah.
going. Because, one thing that no one really accounts for in sports in today's world is Uncle Mo or momentum.
Yeah.
And with that said, when you have momentum on your side and, it just does something to your team. So if they're rolling and he's doing well, I will leave him in there.
This offense, a lot of the reason for them being successful happens because of James Butler. But how on his game does James Butler need to be in this one? And how important is it that he has a big game and opens up that offense for Matthew Shiltz?
I think it's very important. I will say with Schultz playing, you do have some other running options as well because I know he's going to carry it when he needs to.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching them play. And with that said, they have to establish Butler, though. That's been the winning recipe, for a majority of their wins this season. And that's just something they need to stick to, just because it's the playoffs, don't switch from your formula, be who you are, but be the best version of who you are.
And he's coming off a week of rest. How big is that to get a week of rest before the playoffs? I guess technically 2 weeks if you count the bye week, and then he didn't play last week. So he's going to be well rested. And how big is that for him?
Oh, that's very important. Especially I tell people all the time that running back, that's the position that you're going to take the most beating out of all the positions. Even more so than linemen, because at least you're prepared for contact. These guys are running, getting hit. They don't even see these hits coming. So, and then he's a physical player. So when you combine those two things, it's like, yeah, of course, I know he's loving that rest. And I think you're going to see him hit the holes probably as hard as he was hitting them in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and you're going up against a Montreal defense that's as good as they are. You want him to be on his game. You want everyone on this offense to be on their game. But why is this Montreal defense so difficult to play?
Well, I think I will say that coordinator, I faced him many a times when I played, and he's got to he'll see your weakness and try to attack you, and he makes you think. As an offensive lineman, I know most people think when the offensive lineman gets beat, it's from a physical standpoint. No, if you can confuse him, that already makes his job challenging, and he's very good at confusion, hiding blitzes, sending three-man twists, dropping defensive linemen in the coverage. So when you got all that going on, combined with athletic guys like, Sean Lemon and other playmakers that they have, that could be a recipe for success.
Yes, and Sean Lemon, he showed you even in the last game when he probably wasn't playing as much as he has, why he can be so dangerous on that defense. Switching up to the Ticats defense, everything looks virtually the same there. There's no crazy things for me to tell you about on that end, but what do they need to do to shut down most importantly, William Stanback, because a lot of this run game, a
Yeah.
lot of that Montreal game goes through William Stanback, and he is a beast. He's exciting to watch. He's very hard to take down, but how do you take this guy down and limit them on the ground and maybe make them throw the ball a bit more?
Well, he is a he is one of the guys I do enjoy watching, I have to admit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think with that kind of guy, you have to meet him in the hole. Like you can't let him get momentum because he's such a big guy. It's like once he gets momentum, he just starts churning. So defense it's challenging because it's like you want them to be run ready, but at the same time you don't want them to be so focused on the run that they forget about the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
If they go play action on them, so it's going to be a test. But if you can make them, if you can shut that down on first down a couple times and just make them feel like they're not going to run the ball in that particular day, I think that'll be good for the defense.
And if they do have to throw the ball, when they are defending the ball, they have Cody Fajardo. He does tend to throw some picks. He can be a little risky. He's a great game manager quarterback, and he has that weapon, Austin Mack, and he's always dangerous. I believe he finished 4th or 5th in the league in receiving yards this year. But how do you shut down that little duo and maybe try and make Cody look at other options on the field?
Well, continue to apply pressure to him. Uh, like you said, he's very accurate when he's on, but he will give you one every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, defense they just have to take advantage of those um, chances. That's the thing about playoff ball is you have to try to play penalty free or least amount of penalties, least amount of mistakes, and then when you get an opportunity to change the game, you have to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a few years ago when Gascon dropped that interception against Ottawa,
Yes.
and like a play like that, I'm not blaming that particular game on him,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just saying moments like that. That's what matters in playoff football. It's like when you get that opportunity, you have to grab it. You have to. So defensively, they just if they see a turnover, make it happen. And
Yep.
shorten the field for the offense, and just keep making plays out there.
That rowdy Montreal crowd in playoff environments, it's a little bit different. They have those crazy noisemakers. They have all these horns, and I don't even know what noises you're hearing at these games, but it's a loud, rowdy environment. The Ticats have been trying to mimic that the last couple weeks through practice by playing those crowd sound effects and even having those horns that they have in Montreal. But how much of an effect can that have on an offense, and how do you cancel out that noise and play your game?
I mean, I say it's hard for me to answer that one, Brayden, because for me, that's something that never really bothered me.
Yeah.
It's like I could channel it out. Like when I'm out there playing, I don't hear anything. It's like I'm playing in silence, kind of. But
You were zen. You were
yeah,
zened out.
yeah, it's like I'm so focused. It's like I don't even notice anything. My mother could be calling my name and I wouldn't even hear, during the play. But with that said, I mean, for the guys, just prepare. And I mean, you really just have to focus. Remind yourself what is this play? What am I supposed to do on this play? What should I expect on this play? You have to really process things while you're out there. At least that's how
Mhm.
I played. I never just went out there and lined up and played. I literally would do so much thinking before the snap that by the time
Mhm.
the ball was snapped, I'm like, okay, I know where I'm supposed to be, blah, blah, blah. But different guys have different ways they prepare, and you just have to figure out what's best for you to not let that get to you, Like,
Yeah.
honestly, the noise, it kind of, like, motivated me and amped me up personally, even if it was against me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it myself.
And it was kind of cool to hear the Ticats practicing with that the last couple of weeks. I want to transition a bit to some all-star announcements for the Ticats. The Ticats have 3 all-stars. The first one being Tim White at wide receiver. I
Mhm.
mean, kind of a no-brainer, led the league in
Yeah.
receiving yards. What have you thought about his season? And are you surprised at all? I'm going to guess no about this all-star nod.
Oh no, no, I'm not surprised at all. He had a great season, and the thing is, when you get your first one, it's like okay, that's nice. But when you get another one, like when you make an All Stars and people expect
Mhm.
you to make an All Star, meaning when guys line up on you, they're giving you everything they have. That's when you see a guy that's really just working hard and getting better in the off season. When you see
Yeah.
guys continue to do the same thing in success, that means they're not going home just taking off. They're putting in that work. So I'm happy
For
for
sure.
them.
And another guy who you can basically say is the definition of what you just said is Brandon Revenberg. We've talked about him lots. 5th consecutive All-Star appearance. I mean, how difficult is it to be that consistent? And we keep talking about how consistent he is, but how difficult is it to be that consistent and go to 5 consecutive All-Stars?
Oh man, it's very difficult. And I'll say this, I honestly mean this. When I first seen the guy play, this
Mhm.
doesn't surprise me. Like I
Yeah.
told him, if you ever talk to him, ask him. I told him, I said, hey, you're gonna make a lot of money in this league, man. Like, you just have the perfect technique. I mean, his fundamentals is what sets him apart, and then he's strong as an ox. So it's like
Yeah.
when you combine those, then he's durable. I mean, the guy doesn't miss games like that. So very proud of him. I'm very happy for him, and I honestly, I think he's on route to a Hall of Fame career. Personally, I'm
I,
not saying it's done right now, but in my opinion, when it's all said and done, he will be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, 5 consecutive All-Star appearances.
Yeah.
He might pretty much be there at
Yeah,
this
he
point
might.
as an old lineman too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's definitely not a hot take by any means. Casey Sales, he got his first appearance on defense. That's the final Ticat to be nominated to the All-Star to the East All-Stars. What do you think about him and what he's been able to do and since coming over to the Ticats from Winnipeg?
Oh, I enjoy watching him play, and you can tell he has that Winnipeg DNA in him because
Yeah.
he's very active interior guy. That's something you don't see too often, and
Mhm.
just he plays with a lot of. You can just tell he plays with a lot of juice in him. He's just ready to go. Personally, I thought he could have been the defensive player nominee for the team.
Yeah.
Um, he had a very great season, and I just hope he continues to have all of these guys continue to play that All-Star caliber this weekend.
And I think there's a couple guys that you could say deserve to be on this, to deserve to be Eastern Division All Stars. But
Oh
is there
yeah.
anyone you can think of off the top of your head that's like, wow, I can't believe they're not an All Star for the Ticats?
I mean, I'll say I was really surprised that Butler wasn't.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so too.
I understand. I mean, I don't want to get into the politics and stuff, but I'm sure a lot of things went on with that.
Yeah.
Also, what's I'm sorry, the special teams tackler. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Carthel Flowers Lloyd.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I,
that one
I, I,
really that surprised me. Like this guy, when you break records, you should be recognized for that. That surprised
yeah.
me.
I mean, the
You
most
know,
special teams tackles since 2009, I want to say. He had
yeah,
30 special teams tackles, 7 off the record, and not to mention he's a rookie. So that's another one that kind of surprised me as well.
yeah,
Another one I kind of think about, but it's tough to do it at that position is Jameer Thurman. I think he was
yeah,
pretty deserving. But like I said, everyone who was on this East Division team and the West Division team, they're all more than deserving and some really, really great players from around the league. So it could have gone either way at a lot of position groups, but congrats to those 3 guys. I want to get a memory from you. I normally do this to you, Brian, in all sorts of different situations, but if you can give me a playoff memory, maybe a first game of the playoffs or whatever it may be that sticks out.
it's funny that you say this because it's actually against Montreal at Olympic Stadium,
Okay.
and it
Perfect.
was my
Perfect for this.
rookie season, and I want to say I can't remember the final score, but it was like 50 something to 40 something. We went to like double overtime. Anthony Calvillo slinging it, Kevin Glenn
Wow.
slinging it. We got Avon Coburn, Jamal Johnson. Just it was
That
that's probably the most fun game I've ever played in. I mean, I played in some games of Oklahoma that was fun,
yeah.
but that was the most fun I've ever had in a game, and we ended up winning and went to double overtime. And it's actually the same scenarios tomorrow.
Yeah.
So crazy.
That's a stacked group of guys to be playing with. I can imagine that. If you will, Brian, maybe a few keys to victory for the Ticats to close us out here.
Keys to victory defensively, they have to stop that run game, and then they have to make plays when they get an opportunity to in the pass game.
Mm-hmm.
Make when they, I mean, they're going to move the ball, and when they move it, just tackle them immediately. Key form tackling. Offensively, establish the run game and just be physical, and you have to let the defensive line know, hey, today, it's our day today. You be physical, set the tone, and establish Butler. And in the pass game, get the ball to Tim White and all the other playmakers, and in the special teams, just play solid. No miscues in special teams. That's one thing people forget about. Let's not have any turnovers. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
worsen their chances for our offense or defense. And I think, I expect them to win this game. I think it's going to be a good one, though.
I think each game they've gotten better and better against
Hmm.
Montreal. The last game you look at it, obviously there's a lot of guys not playing or there's a lot of
Yeah,
guys not playing much. But I think you look at the 2 teams and you look at how they've progressed throughout the season. The Ticats are a different team than what we saw them play against Montreal way back and whenever it was in August or whatever it may be. So very excited for this game. And as always, Brian Simmons, a pleasure having you on the show. And hopefully we can talk again next week about them preparing for Toronto. But one game at a time. Brian Simmons, thanks again.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to take it one game at a time. You're right, Brayden. All right, man. Take care.